you write across different genres. So
Hmm.
do you know what inspired you to write this historical romance and like what hooked you into that?
I tend to, whenever I'm reading, I usually am on like a kick of something. So like for a while I'll be on a kick of historical romance, and then I'll be on a kick of, you know, urban fantasy. So that's kind of what happens is whatever I've been reading a lot of, I tend to want to write in that genre. And at the time I had been reading a lot of obviously historical romance and a lot of ones featuring a female character living as a man. Jay has that Backwards to Oregon series, which is really fantastic. Luke Dreamer had a series called the Heart series, which followed the same thing, a woman living as a man, but it was on the Yukon Trail. So just all those things. And I've always been fascinated a lot with women who back in history who did live as men and
Hmm.
disguise themselves as men to live back then. Because if I were living back then, I probably would have done the same thing. So it's always something very fascinating to me, even as a kid. So it's kind of all tied together.
Yeah, no, that's really interesting. I mean, and that trope is kind of an old trope that we see throughout historical romance for sure, and I'm
Mhm.
sure like in historical fiction, but I think it has often been a trope to explore kind of cis feminist stuff
Mhm.
of like, oh, wearing pants is freeing. If only I
Right.
were allowed to wear pants too, which is,
Right.
something that we need to explore. But I think a lot of times the question of like, well, maybe gender isn't binary has
Right.
been left out of the conversation.
Right. Yeah, there's all
So,
kinds of elements to that that could have benefited, not just, well, I don't want to wear a dress. I just want to wear pants.
okay,